drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people, and also Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. I'm here with my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, and on Pillow Talk, what we do is we talk about all different issues that relate to love and money and everything that smart Black people care about. And so I want to say hello to my lovely wife, Dr. Alicia. How you doing today, babe?
Oh gosh, I am doing so great, but we are tired. We are two tired parents, are we not?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. We took Nicole to college yesterday, and that was quite the experience. I'm gonna tell you, I was so proud to be at Tuskegee and seeing her really take in the all the Black history over there and all that stuff. That was pretty cool.
And to see some old friends and old family members there, like it was great reconnecting with them. And she really, it wasn't smooth, but I called her this morning.
It never is.
Yeah, I called her this morning and she answered the phone, hello? And I was like, oh, she's having a good time.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, it's an adjustment, and I can tell you, I'm definitely rooting for her and really happy, that she picked Tuskegee. I just feel like that's such a great school.
And Tuskegee picked her. That was really what was
Mm.
remarkable. Out of all the possible schools, she knew she wanted to have the Black experience, which unfortunately she didn't quite get as much as she wanted to. And they picked her. And so it's a mutual agreement between the two of them, and it works out. She's got a scholarship, so that's
Yeah.
so great.
Well, Black people, we got to choose each other, and that's how we win. And so, speaking of that, you and I have been having some conversations about one Sha'Carri Richardson and her situationship with Christian Coleman, who is one of the fastest human beings in the history of the world. Sha'Carri is one of the fastest women in the history of the world. So this is a real power couple in the world of sprinting, and they just had a crazy situation in the airport. Some might say it was kind of flat out ghetto. And I want to ask everybody in the chat, give me a yes if you saw what happened with Sha'Carri, if you expressed any concern about it. Let me know if you all saw that. Um, so let me ask you this, babe. Did you see the fight with Sha'Carri?
Yeah, you showed it to me. I had so much going on. I hadn't had a chance to like really dive into what's happening with, the world and news. But when you showed me the video and then you showed me her response, what she said when she was being arrested. And yeah, we definitely had a good conversation in that moment about what we noticed in her behavior. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pull out the video in a minute so everybody can see it. I'm gonna give everybody time to come in. But let me ask you, just based on before I actually show the video, I know you're a therapist and I know that you are a specialist in trauma. And you've spoken extensively about how trauma can really impact our relationships and our choices and our reactions. Were you surprised by the fact that Sha'Carri was kind of caught up in such a crazy situation?
Well, she got filmed while she was being triggered. Something was triggered in her. And I want to talk about a little bit about trauma because a lot of people are saying just because something bad happens to you, that does not mean that it's trauma. I think people are starting to use the word trauma and throwing that out there. But I think we need to be a little more descriptive of what trauma really means. So all of us, as old as we are in our 50s, boys, we are going to go out in this world and we're going to have experiences that are less than ideal. Things are going to happen to us. We're going to have ups, we're going to have downs. But as long as we can come to each other and have a place where we can talk about, oh my goodness, guess what happened to me today? All these terrible things that happened to me. If you're able to have somebody, usually your significant other, that you can process and talk about and explore how you feel, what you were thinking, all of those things, that's not traumatic. That experience doesn't turn into a traumatic incident. When it becomes traumatic is when you have terrible things that happen to you and you don't have a place to process all of that. That gets turned into what would be considered trauma. So what we saw in Sha'Carri was that she was in a moment of being triggered. Now, we don't know the nature of their conversation. We don't know what he could have said. He could have taken pictures of her grandmother and shredded them up and threw them in the trash. We don't know what he did. We don't know the dynamic between the two of them that required her to be so reactive and to just, to not be able to regulate what she was feeling. And we saw her lash out against him. So we all know, when she's online and when she is in her normal state, she's perfectly fine. She's a relatable person and all of us love her. But when she's in a state where she is being triggered by something between the two of them, that is where she is probably experiencing a traumatic experience where her mind goes back to a moment where she feels unsafe. And therefore, she's pushing and shoving because in her mind, and the mind of anybody who's in that situation, is that they feel threatened.
Okay, so
Something there.
let me, everybody who's watching, let me know if you can see the video. And you see here, Sha'Carri is clearly the aggressor. She is pushing Christian on multiple occasions. He's trying to walk away from her. It looks like she might have hit him right there. I don't know if that was a punch or not.
Yeah.
And he's walking away again. He's like, get away from me. She pushed him again really hard right there. You see that, almost to the point where it looks like he fell over. People are looking. She's walking, she's following him again. She pushes him again. Look, she's pushing him again. And you see here that she's really, really, as you mentioned, very triggered. And what's interesting about this to me, Dr. Alicia, my wife, my lovely wife, is I want to ask you, I noticed that you were discussing some things that I thought were really important. You were saying, well, we don't know what he did. We don't know what triggered her. We don't know how she was feeling in that moment. But I can tell you like this. Here's where I come from. I had a friend who beat his wife. And
Okay.
he wasn't my friend after I found that out. I wanted him to get turned into the cops. But when he beat his wife and when he got arrested, like he should have been, there
Mm-hmm.
was nobody saying, I wonder what she said to make him react that way. I,
Okay.
I wonder
Yeah.
what hold on, wait, let me finish. Let me finish.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wonder what he was feeling, when he decided to punch her in the jaw. I wonder, she
Yeah.
clearly he was emotionally triggered and we should have empathy for that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see the empathy. What do you say to that?
No, there's no excuse. Let me just say this. There's no excuse for what she did. Like, to get angry at somebody and to put your hands on somebody, that's illegal. So if you want to talk about that, you can get a police officer on here and interview them. If you want to talk about the fact that she went to jail and she should have been arrested because she broke the law, it is illegal to put your hands on somebody like that. When you're mad at that person in the midst of an argument, you go to jail and things happen, right? You can talk to a police officer, you can talk to something else. You're talking to a therapist. And so my position here is to explain what happened. Explaining what happens does not mean that I support what happens. It just means we need to give an explanation and break it down. Why and how do people respond the way they respond? And when it comes to intimate partner violence, it is a dynamic there. And I've been speaking about this dynamic that happens a lot. Whether the male is the aggressor or whether the female is the aggressor, it is never okay to put your hands on somebody in anger. But that's not my job. I'm a therapist. You just mentioned a therapist. My job as a therapist is to let the police do what the police need to do. But also, at the end of it, what are you going to do? You have to probably be mandated for therapy or go through, we call it the PAPE program, Partner Abuse Intervention Program, which she might be if he didn't press charges, which is normal. Most women don't press charges against men who are aggressive to them in an argument. So whatever that is, whatever the court system may have her do, let that happen. But as a therapist, our job is to understand, our job is to explain, our job is not to condone violence in any way.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and pull up another clip. So Sha'Carri then issues an apology. And what I'm going to do is actually before I pull up that clip, I want actually, you know, instead of pulling up the clip, I want to ask you a question really quick. So, okay, so given that there was and so you're saying that you're not excusing the behavior at all. You're just sort of analyzing and not judging the same way you
I'm
would do
here
if she
as a
was a man.
therapist. You
Right, the
mentioned
same way you
that,
would do it,
right?
right? So the same thing you would do if she were male, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to just get clarity on that because I know that there are lots of people who feel that maybe it was the fact that she was a woman that made her think she could get away with that. Like even a
Oh,
man even a man, with this, I mean, I would say this. I want anybody in the room to give me one example of one time that they can think of in the last 5 years where a man as famous as Sha'Carri, other than Diddy, even Diddy didn't even do it publicly, uh, beat up on a woman in the middle of an airport, where cameras are rolling, like really Denzel level fame. Not Denzel, not that Sha'Carri's at Denzel level, but Sha'Carri's very famous. Sha'Carri has, you know, celebrity followers and stuff like that. I can't think of a single time where I've seen a man as famous as Sha'Carri, let's say track star or a football star, who was in a public place with thousands of people watching, who just felt like because I'm mad at you, it's okay for me to keep pushing you, following you around, hit you in the head, stuff like that. It almost seems to me that Carrie seemed to believe that because I'm a woman, and I say this is a leading question, honestly, babe, because it seems like there's like an understanding when a woman goes ballistic and blows a man's car up or cuts his tires or busts his windows out, there's always somebody who says, "Well, I wonder what he did." Right? Do you think that there's a little bit of a double standard there when it comes to domestic violence, when it comes to men versus women?
so what you're pointing to is society. So society is yet another category here. I think in society, because she's so tiny, she's half his size. She's half his
Okay.
size. They think that society is saying, oh, she's this little pint-sized person, and it's okay for her because of the damage that it could possibly have done. She couldn't really hurt him as much. And society, you're talking about societal expectations, that it's more people think it's more of okay for women to do this because they're so much smaller than men. But um, I don't know if Sha'Carri, you were making the statement that Sha'Carri believes that it's okay for her to hit him. I don't know that she's even thinking that clearly because she's in a state of being triggered. When you're triggered, there's no rational behavior happening there. You cannot rationalize with somebody who's in the state of being triggered. Remember, being triggered means that your mind goes back to a place where you feel absolutely unsafe. Where we can see from this video, she is not in danger. But in that moment, she thinks she's in danger. And that's what happens with even
In danger of what? I mean, if somebody's walking away
men.
from you, she's clearly not afraid of him.
Mhm,
She's not, she wasn't in danger of him hurting
mhm.
her. Maybe she was in danger of
Exactly.
him
That's the
hurting her
point.
feelings. But
Right.
where was the danger? That's what I'm trying to understand. Help me
Exactly.
understand that.
Exactly. That's what happens when you're being triggered. That's how irrational the whole thing can be. When someone is triggered, we can look at that video and see she's not in danger. But it's you go back to a moment where there must have been moments in her life, I'm thinking as a therapist, where she felt she was in danger and she never got to integrate that. She never got to process those past experiences of being in danger. And so just like what a lot of people say when it comes to trauma is that your body time travels back to the moment where you felt unsafe. It's a time travel. Your sensory time travels back to the moment where you feel unsafe and it becomes present. The past becomes present in the moment where you get triggered. That tells a professional person looking at a behavior like that, it tells a professional person that there's some things in her past that she needs to process so that she can integrate it into her so that she doesn't get triggered by it.
Hmm. Okay. So,
Right.
by the way, everybody, I want everybody to know what you're watching. You're watching Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. And we're talking about Sha'Carri Richardson and this crazy incident she had with her boyfriend, Christian Coleman, who is, I think I might have called him Christian Leitner or something else. I don't remember.
Woo, that's
I
a
keep
whole
forgetting.
different person.
I know it's a basketball player, but anyway, it's anyway, if you're watching, if you could please do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe, and I'd also like for you all to know that Dr. Alicia is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work, and also a trauma. She's certified in trauma. So if you want to heal your trauma and you want to get it out of your body, out of your system. She has excellent techniques that she shares every Sunday night for free in her Healing Haven book club. Just text the word love on your phone to the number 87948. So you can text love to 87948. Also, if you are looking for a good therapist or you're looking for a way to help with some of your family drama, things like that, just go to coachingwithdralicia.com. That's coachingwithdralicia.com. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share another clip because I really am trying to understand some of this in terms of Sha'Carri, because you go back to danger, and I don't feel like it didn't come off as a person who was responding to feeling like they were in danger, even though I hear you, I completely hear it, but what's the difference between somebody who beats someone's ass because they feel like they're in danger versus someone who just beats ass because they are a bully? Right? Like Diddy. When Diddy was stomping and kicking Cassie in that hallway, what danger was Diddy in that moment? Was it danger he felt from her leaving him? Was it danger he felt from his mama abandoning him when he was a baby? Was it danger he felt from somebody beating his ass 5 years earlier? Like, what danger was Diddy feeling when he's kicking Cassie that can help me relate to the danger that somebody might feel when they're deciding to clearly, as Sha'Carri was doing in the video, beat up on somebody who's clearly walking away? Help me understand that, please.
Yeah, I mean, just like Sha'Carri and Diddy, it is this sense of being not in control, out of control. It's a feeling that you're not in control of what's going on, and you feel like you have to be. Like her job, what she was trying to do was to control and have power over him. Although looking at the two of them, how could it be? But it was her way of trying to get power over the situation where she feels powerless. Same thing with Diddy and any other abuser, that the dynamic of the relationship is to maintain some sort of power over that person. She probably wanted him to do something and to behave in a certain way and to give her something that he was not doing. We don't know the details of it. The same thing with Diddy. Diddy was trying to exert his power and control over her by literally being strong enough to drag her back into the hotel and to stomp on her. You need to be in my control. So that was the thing. And who is this Italian medallion is true. Like, that's what happened to her. She got arrested. You don't do that. It's illegal to do that to someone. So a lot of abuse situations is about power and control.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that maybe there's the fear of losing control, which can drive a frustration, which can lead to abusive behavior, male or female, right? So I'm afraid that my woman isn't listening to me or that she's going to leave me. So because of that fear, I'm going to use violence or do whatever I can by any means necessary to regain control. Me being a bully ain't got nothing to do with it. There's no sort of part of it where, because I think that what probably confuses a lot of people is that, because, and I want to understand it, is that sometimes it feels like there's excuses, right? It sounds like sometimes, because I can tell you where I saw a double standard. Nike did it. I don't know if anybody else saw this, but right after this incident took place, I don't know how many people know this, but Nike literally ran an ad with Sha'Carri as the star of the ad, literally in response to Sha'Carri doing something that would have got any black man in America would have been canceled for doing this. Nike literally runs an ad the day after Sha'Carri gets arrested for domestic violence. Now, everybody, give me a yes or no in the chat. Have you ever seen a time where a black man was accused of abusing a woman and arrested for domestic violence and immediately was rewarded by being made a focal point on a Nike website. Can anybody name an example of that? So I want to ask you, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, babe. What is going on here? I mean, wouldn't you say that this could be some kind of a double standard, at least when it comes from society?
Okay, one thing I want to say is that all of us, all of our behaviors, we either act out of fear or we act out of love. That's it. The things that we do, it's either based out of fear or it's based out of love. So if you're ever curious about giving an explanation, and I want to make this clear, an explanation for someone's behavior is not an excuse. It's just deconstructing what happened. Okay. So I want to get that clear because it doesn't sound like maybe the listeners aren't hearing that part. So you behave out of fear or you behave out of love. Y'all think about everything that you do every day. Are you doing it out of fear or are you doing it out of love? I mean, it's nice to know and to pay attention and to have that insight. That's my challenge to everybody. Have that insight into that. Now, the third thing is this ad was released. I don't know the steps it takes for marketing people to run an ad, but I do know that she has been canceled before because of her behavior that has been, to me, probably rooted in trauma, right? Some of her behavior, some of the things that she has said and done, we know that she was probably acting out of fear and not out of love. So are the consequences of her now being arrested going to mean that she might be canceled? I mean, we've seen this happen before. We know Tiger Woods, he lost his endorsements, but he was able to get some of it back. We know we have lots of examples where men have lost their endorsements and they've gotten them back. Who else? There's some other people. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
I
it
mean,
may.
Diddy.
Diddy for sure. Now, Diddy himself has admitted that he is an abusive person. He has said this. Yes, I'm an abusive person. On top of that abuse, there's some other things happening with Diddy that's beyond just abuse. There are some other illegal things that allegedly he's participated in. I guess at this point, there's court and things coming out in the courts. So his problem is that he is an abusive person. He has identified himself as an abusive person. And I think that for Diddy, he's got a lot of other things going on. We don't know if that's the case for Sha'Carri or whatever. However, she may be canceled. There could be some repercussions. I'm certain that marketing people are they're having a meeting at Nike about what to do with this, because I'm certain their brand doesn't want to be connected with that type of behavior. I am certain she's lost endorsements before. I'm certain that that's probably what's going to happen. Some endorsements will be lost. I know you're going to play her video response, and that's a little troubling as a therapist to hear what she had to say. And so there's a lot of growth that needs to happen with Sha'Carri. It seems like she's starting to become aware of some of this, but it's up to her whether she will invest in herself enough to be able to make some true gains. Yeah.
I think the question that I ask, right? You're able to speak as as the great therapist that you are. I can speak as a financial expert, right? We can talk about the financial implications of letting your trauma dictate your choices, right? But at the same time, though, I also look deeply at society, and I blame society to some extent
Mhm.
for Sha'Carri's behavior in two areas. One, society made her into the person that she is. Whatever trauma she went through, I don't know what happened with her biological mother. I wouldn't be surprised if something happened that maybe it was a drug related thing or something like that. But whatever, right? Trauma kind of creates a lot of ghetto ratchet crazy behavior that we just as a black community are kind of tired of. I think a lot of black people are tired of tell me if y'all agree with this. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but I know a lot of black people who are like, I'm tired of us being labeled as loud and obnoxious and violent, and kids getting shot in the street, can't go to some neighborhoods and feel safe anymore. Can't, kids don't want to learn. Teachers are scared to death to educate some of the kids, and because of what's happening in the home, right? So society creates that, right? You have the BET Hip Hop Awards or whatever, and things like that. These venues that validate and incentivize ridiculous behavior. They validate and incentivize the ghetto ratchet culture. They validate and incentivize the Sha'Carri Richardsons to say, "You go, girl. Don't you let nobody tell you nothing. You keep being you." So my belief, honestly, is that society in two levels plays a role here. Number one, in the creation of all the trauma that makes Sha'Carri easily triggered, but then number two, enabling enabling behavior that that most of us consider to be unacceptable. And tell me if y'all, if anybody in the room understands where I'm coming from on this. I'm not trying to look down on nobody or disrespect anybody, but when Sha'Carri had her first little incident, and I said, when remember she got smoked by the Jamaicans back in 2021 and was cussing on NBC, and I said, this girl's gonna lose millions of dollars because of this. She's going to lose lots of opportunities because she's going to need to keep her cool and learn how to not be so arrogant and be a good damn sport. Be gracious whether you win or you lose. Like, for example, the beautiful sprinter in Jamaica. What's her name? Shelly Ann Fraser Price. Right? You would never see Shelly Ann Fraser Price do that. You would never see Allison Felix do that. You would never see Gabby Thomas do that. Right? So my point is to say that, do you think that maybe Nike putting that ad up and literally saying, I don't believe that they did it by accident. I think that they thought about it and said, oh wow, we're gonna strike while the iron's hot. Everybody's talking about her. Maybe she'll get a reality show. People will pay her millions of dollars to act ghetto and crazy because that's what reality shows are built on. They build whole industries on ghetto, ratchet, crazy behavior. So I almost feel when you talk about society, I'd like for you to comment on this. So I'll be quiet. I feel like as a society that they encourage and incentivize young black people to destroy their lives in public because it makes for good TV. And then they get money and they say, haha, you can't tell me nothing because I'm getting money and blah, blah, blah. The whole time, your whole life is burning to the ground, but you're doing that because white folks will put money in your pocket. They'll never pay you to be a black man. They'll never pay you to be a black woman. They'll never pay you to be educated and intelligent, but they'll always pay you to be a nigga. And that's what bothers me. Babe, what say you?
I don't know if we can put all of that on society. Society, you're saying society is what made her into who she is. That's what I heard you say. And I don't think that we need to necessarily, that's a big claim. That's a bold claim, Boyce. Society made her into what she is. No, her home life and environment made her into what she really is. Now, does society find that person and take them and plaster them across the whole world to see as a representative of us? Yes. Can society and the media, let's just talk about it. Can the media find healthy representation of Black people and choose to promote that? Yes, they could definitely do that. But I think that's a bold claim to say that society made Sha'Carri who and what she is. No, I think her home life and environment made her who and what she is. I think that, like all of us and any of the Sha'Carris out there, it is your background is important for who and what you are. But you can consciously make the choice to do better and to be better, even given the circumstances. You always have a choice to operate from a place of fear or operate in a place of love, or just to have some self-awareness or understand how some of your home life environment affects you now. And you can start integrating that. You can become healed. It's not a done deal for anybody. So yeah, you're right. The BET Hip Hop Awards is promoting aspect of anybody who's been a conquered race of people. Yes, you can promote some of these negative images of us. I think that's definitely what they're doing. And they're showing the results of this. And maybe that's the agenda of media, is to make sure that we don't see ourselves in this positive light. It's frustrating because Sha'Carri's reality is not the reality of me and you. It's not the reality of dropping a straight A student off to college yesterday, like what we did. That wasn't showcased. I don't see Nike coming to us and offering us a lot of money to see a really smart, intelligent person. Yeah, it's marketing. They're trying to sell to a certain demographic. So, who knows? But I think bringing it back to Sha'Carri, I didn't know if you had mentioned this, but this video was filmed on the tail end of her losing a race.
No, it was filmed. I think it was filmed before.
It was filmed
they
before
ran.
she was going to lose the race.
I think so. Yeah, go the violence. I think I can double check that, but I believe it was
Let's
before
find
they
out
ran
because
at the
I
US.
was wondering, like, I wonder if she's a little edgy anyway because she lost big time.
Oh yeah, she got a ass kick.
Yeah, I
And
was wondering.
Christian didn't make the team either.
She didn't make the team. What a
I
disappointment.
know. Well, Christian didn't run well either. He didn't make. He wanted to make it in the 100, and he didn't make it in the 100 or the 200.
Yeah, so both of them were losers in a way. I mean, they're not losers, of course, but they lost. And I'm wondering if both of them are like, boy, we've been in the middle of our relationship drama, and here we are, we can't get our mind right. And we are not putting our all into the race because we know that how you perform, just in general, how y'all perform at work, we compartmentalize as much as possible, but sometimes we can bring unhealthy situations in our personal lives that can spill over into our professional careers. Possibility that there have been a lot of tension, and if things aren't going well, sometimes it has an impact. So it could be that both of them came off of this race where they had high expectations for Sha'Carri and for Christian Coleman, high expectations, and maybe they just felt like they lost out and it was tense. Who knows what it was? We don't know. But that could be part of it too, Boyce.
Yeah, it could be. Well, by the way, everybody, you're watching Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. And if you could take a moment, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, this content is it's available on Spotify. So if you like intelligent Black media, then look up my name on Spotify. It's called the Dr. Boyce Breakdown. Thousands of you have subscribed, and so we'd love to have more of you subscribe. And also, I have a book out called Financial Lovemaking that I wrote when I was on the faculty of Syracuse. You can have the book for free. I am deeply devoted to the idea of you not letting your relationships mess up your money. I've shared with you thousands of chats that all this drama you see in the Black community on relationships, it's affecting your finances. It's a big reason why your wealth can't grow because you can't get along. I was on the phone with Dr. George James today, and one of the things that he talks about is he's counseling lots of families on how to get along long enough to keep your business together. He said family businesses fall apart because cousin Willie wants to fight with cousin Pookie, and all this other stuff is going on. You got to get the drama out because if you don't fix the trauma, there will always be drama. And that's going to drain the bank account of you and your mama. So there we go. There's bars for you. So if you want a free e-copy of that book, the book is free. Financial Lovemaking. You get a copy. Go to boyceandalicia.com. Not only will you get a free copy of my book, but you'll also get free access to materials from Dr. Alicia. And her website, by the way, is coachingwithdralicia.com. So some of you have reached out for one-on-one appointments with Dr. Alicia. You can do that at coachingwithdralicia.com. Okay, so what I want to share with you, babe, is I want to share Sha'Carri's apology, and I want to get your therapist's reaction to this right away. And I'd like everybody in the chat to help me out. Technology, I'm funny with it. And so let me know if you can hear. When I play this video, let me know if you can hear it okay. I'm going to try to make sure I turn the audio on. There we go. There's Sha'Carri on there. So give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat if you can hear this video as I play it. And I also want you to listen specifically to see if you feel that Sha'Carri has remorse for what happened in this incident. Here goes.
Oh, it's Sha'Carri, and more than anything, definitely a lot of self-reflection, a lot of understanding of not only putting myself in a compromised situation, but somebody that I have a deep care and appreciation for as well is something that holding myself accountable. I see myself, I'm taking this time to not only see myself, but get myself a certain level of help that overall is going to reflect who I truly am in my heart and my spirit, and not allowing this moment, but accepting this moment to be more. And so my only thing is I want to be more, not even just for myself, for my family, for my fans, and overly appreciate y'all supporting me and showing up and even holding me accountable to being my best self. So more than anything, I refuse to my family, for my fans, and overly appreciate y'all supporting me and showing up and even holding me accountable to being my best self. So more than anything, I refuse to run away. Well, not refuse to run, but I refuse to run away, but face everything that comes to me head on, because everything on the other side is greater, but you got to go through in order to get there. So I'm Sha'Carri, y'all. I appreciate y'all, and one love, much love, and y'all be blessed.
Okay. I would like to ask you, Dr. Alicia, and I want everybody in the chat to give me like one sentence to tell me what you learned from the video, what you thought about the video. I'm gonna say, honestly, babe, I didn't understand a damn thing she was saying in that video.
Yeah,
It
she
sounded like
didn't
she
say
just
very
literally
much.
was like, I'm gonna get on the camera for 60 seconds and ramble. And I think that she might have thrown the word in accountability. I heard her thank her fans like she's accepting an award or something like that. But I did not hear her apologize to Christian. I did not hear her apologize to the public. I did not hear her say she learned from her actions. I did not see remorse. Uh, Please correct me and help me see what I didn't, what I couldn't have, what I did not see in this video. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I think that she keeps talking about wants to be her best self and she wants to be more. So I hear someone who is saying maybe she's not enough. You know, maybe Sha'Carri being Sha'Carri is just not enough and she needs to be more, and she needs to be more of her best self. That I think is interesting and worth exploring. And it seems as if this whole incident is a little fuzzy for her. She hasn't quite sorted out why she did what she did, what the root cause is for why she did what she did. She's saying that she was with someone that she cares about a lot. So she probably says, God, I really love this person. She's feeling love for this person, but something happened and she stepped outside of love and ended up acting in another way. So she's able to identify how she feels about Christian Coleman as she's speaking. But I would have to say that her statement about, I am now going to start the process of self-reflection to try to figure out why I did what I did. You know, I'm thinking that's where she's coming from. She's asking people, bear with me, something happened. I wasn't being in my best self, but I need to try to figure this out. And I'm in the process of self-reflection to try to figure it out. That's the best way I can kind of decode this whole situation. It was not an apology. It was just an admission. I'm going to become accountable. So maybe seeing other videos from her to try to explain it, because she's got some cleanup to do, some damage control she needs to do. I'm certain people in her team, they did a wonderful job, by the way, cleaning up her image and her being a really good winner in a lot of ways. She's got a lot to do. She's got a long way to go in terms of grappling with how she needs to respond when she doesn't win. And whatever her, hopefully she's interacting with a sports psychologist or someone that can help try to figure out why she didn't perform as well as she did. But it definitely wasn't an apology. It was just an admission. She's admitting that she did something wrong and she is going to be accountable for it. She hasn't specifically laid out in detail what she did. What behaviors did she do that was unacceptable? It'd be nice to see her get into that. Like pushing my significant other in the midst of an argument is not okay. And Aya need to be accountable for that. She needs to be very descriptive if she's in a place where she wants to apologize, but that was not an apology.
I'm gonna play the video again before I give my response on this. So let me pop it in here and let's listen to the word salad that is known as Sha'Carri Richardson. Somebody in the comments said word salad. I think that was an appropriate term. So here, let's listen. And then I'm gonna give the Dr. Boyce breakdown on this. Here we go.
Hey y'all, it's Sha'Carri, and more than anything, definitely a lot of self-reflection, a lot of understanding of not only putting myself in a compromised situation, but somebody that I have a deep care and appreciation for as well is something that holding myself accountable. I see myself, I'm taking this time to not only see myself, but give myself a certain level of help that overall is going to reflect who I truly am in my heart and my spirit, and not allowing this moment, but accepting this moment to be more. And so my only thing is I want to be more, not even just for myself, for my family, for my fans, and overly appreciate y'all supporting me and showing up and even holding me accountable to being my best self. So more than anything, I refuse to my family, for my fans, and overly appreciate y'all supporting me and showing up and even holding me accountable to being my best self. So more than anything, I refuse to run away. Well, not refuse to run, but I refuse to run away, but face everything that comes to me head on, because everything on the other side is greater, but you got to go through in order to get there. So I'm Sha'Carri, y'all. I appreciate y'all, and one love, much love. Amen.
Okay, I'm going to be nice today. I'm not going to say that that statement was bullshit because that would be mean. All right. So what I'm going to say instead is I'd be mad at her team. I'm not so mad at the 25, 26-year-old who made that statement. I would really love to talk to the 40, 50, 60-year-olds who are supposed to be advising her on how to appropriately handle a situation like this so you don't throw away millions of dollars worth of opportunities. Um, what I saw with Sha'Carri's statement was nothing. It wasn't super coherent. I did hear her mention friends and family, and to get to it, you got to go through it, and something like that, just whatever. And but I was really trying to make sense of what she was saying, and it almost sounded like she went up on camera without a plan. And on one hand, giving an authentic statement, I think can be appreciated, right? You're being honest, and I remember when we pushed Lil Wayne to apologize for words that he said about Emmett Till years ago. This is way back in the day. You can Google it. And his first statement was so professionally written, so poised, so well prepared that I remember I worked with Emmett Till's family on this, and they said that's not a real statement. That wasn't really him. And so he came back with another statement. There was some ebonics, some broken English, some like, yo, you know what? This is what I be doing up in here, right? And they liked that one better because it was more realistic. It's like, okay, this is really how low one. This is Wheezy. This isn't the professional guy. This is Wheezy, right? And so I get that authenticity, and I think that using that can be a good thing. But this just sounded like she just was like, I'm just gonna get on camera and just rattle away. I'm going to remind everybody how disconnected and possibly arrogant I could be. And it's not going to make anything better. It's not going to make Christian feel better about the fact that I was shoving his man in the head and humiliating him in an airport. It's not going to make my fans feel better who've been trying to root for me and want me to succeed, but they've been watching me get my ass kicked on the track and then act a damn fool off the track. It's not better for my sponsors who are hoping that I can show some semblance of professionalism because they really want to do business with me and give me money. I don't see anybody who benefited from that statement. I don't. I just kind of saw a person who's like, yeah, I kind of just, I just want to, and maybe it also could be just honestly, let's just keep it real. The education system ain't what it used to be, right? So you got a lot of kids that are coming out in the world that, and I'm not saying that she didn't get a good education at LSU, but I know she was only there for a year or two, I think. I think she left after her freshman and sophomore year, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong, but she was so talented that she didn't really have to go to college that long. I don't know if she actually finished. So I'm not making fun of her. I'm not looking down on her. I'm observing what I saw. And I just thought, when I watched that statement, I was like, I need you to send me a check for $1.50 to give me back my 60 seconds that I just wasted watching this video because there was absolutely nothing done in that video that changed a damn thing. I think it only made people double down on this idea that this person is uninterested in the real self-improvement required for her to know how to handle that important position that she's been granted in society. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying. And it was fuzzy. I called it fuzzy. She hasn't quite figured out what's going on. And so she was being authentic. She was definitely saying, I need to try to figure this out. I need to do some self-reflection. I don't know. It sounded like to me, she didn't know why she did what she did. She's not even at the point where she's able to identify exactly what she did. She hasn't connected with that totally. So, but I've heard you say two things, Boyce. I've heard you say society made Sha'Carri who she is. I heard you say that. I've also heard you say, and it sounds like you were saying, the educational system has made Sha'Carri who and what she really is. So we're putting off her behavior on these two.
Let me clarify that. I'm not blaming the educational system solely. I think the destruction of Black children is a partnership. It's a partnership between the government, educational systems, media, et cetera. BET Awards every year, they got a pregnant lady with tattoos, smoking cigarettes and twerking and just whatever, the gangster thug, go kill Black people, and that's gonna make you a hero. Like that called trap music, what is it? There's drill music, drill rap that murders Black kids in Chicago. That gets celebrated. They love this stuff, right? So I'm not saying that it was just one entity. It takes a village to destroy a child. And I think with Sha'Carri, when I say society, I'm not, I'm including the home life for sure, right? You could tell everything wasn't.
I don't disagree with you. I just think it's so important to deconstruct all of this because the
Sure.
problem with Sha'Carri, you're making it into a big societal issues as the problem with many Black people. And we could definitely deconstruct that because, yeah, we could say society, absolutely, this sort of behavior is promoted in media. Yeah, we can say that. We can say the educational system, we can say that the educational system is another system of white supremacy where, there are some things in our educational system that's not what it should be, right? But all of these systems, there's so many things to deconstruct that makes a person who and what they are. And so where I'm sitting, it's multifaceted. We can't point the finger at one system and say that one system did it because it's a myriad of system. And as a social worker, I don't know if people know, I'm a social worker. I get this. That's all we talk about is systems perspective. And just like when I was in graduate school, we heard about the what is it called? The Garbarino study. I think that's his name, where he looked at unemployment rates and instances of abuse and neglect for children. And would you know they're related? That as unemployment goes up, instances of child abuse and neglect also go up. And he went through the entire time span to say there is a relationship between economics and child abuse and neglect. I mean, he wrote an entire paper on, we all had to read it and talk about it and everything. So you're right. All of these systems have an impact on you and your personal life. And how important is it to deconstruct all of these things and to look at these things? Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Well, I think that if we're going to deconstruct systems, we got to be honest about what the systems are doing to Black people. I
Yes.
can't think of
Yes.
I can't think of a lot of American systems that are designed to empower Black people.
Yes.
You read Dr. Claude Anderson books, he'll tell you how this whole system is not wired to support you. So if we sort of say, okay, Black people are screwed up, or a lot of us are, and it's because of the system. So we got to fix the system to fix Black people. And you say, well, who controls the system? White people control the system. So what you're basically saying is that the fate of Black people is in the hands of the graciousness of white people, a group of people who've never shown any graciousness toward us at any point in American history. Even the Civil War, even the liberals hated Black people. There were Negroes getting lynched in New York for taking white people's jobs. So my position on this is that I think this can be dealt with, but we're going to have to be honest about about these realities. And I'll say this. Here's another thing that I think is interesting. Circling back to Sha'Carri, um, I think a more authentic representation of who she is, and or at least how she reacts in the middle of a stressful situation, might be captured by the video that was taken right when she was being arrested. And so I want to
Oh,
play that, and I want to get your assessment, and I want everybody else in the chat. As you hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe. If you like intelligent Black media, this is the place to be. And so let me know what you all think about this video. So I'm gonna play Sha'Carri and help me out. Let me know if you guys can hear it once I play it. I want to make sure the sound gets shared. So here it goes.
I am. Haven't put my hands on him. We had an argument. I will be honest about that. An argument, and that's pretty much it.
This right here is new body camera video of the moments before Olympic sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson was arrested at SeaTac Airport last month. You heard her tell police she did not touch her boyfriend, but airport security footage shows her shoving him multiple times before police arrived right here in this corner. Officers were called to TSA security after she pushed him in a packed terminal right outside security checkpoint 4. She was then booked into jail and then released the next day. This week, she addressed what happened on her social media.
More than anything, definitely a lot of self-reflection, a lot of understanding of not only putting myself in a compromised situation, but somebody that I have a deep care and appreciation for as well is something that holding myself accountable.
Along with the recorded apology to her fans and family, she posted this statement apologizing to her boyfriend.
Okay, let's see if we can read this. Actually, you know what I want to do? I
what's
want
her
to,
apology? I want to see the apology.
yeah. Okay, so
But
so
if
let,
you don't, it's okay.
the
Yeah,
problem is I can't, I don't know quite how to pull that part of the. Let me see if I can pull this that part of the. You know what? Let me just play that video again, and then when we get to the apology, I'm going to pause it. All right, so here we go. So we can all read the apology, and then I think we have a better video as well. So here we go.
We had an argument. I will be honest about that. An argument, and that's pretty much it.
This right here is new body camera video of the moments before Olympic sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson was arrested at SeaTac Airport last month. You heard her tell police she did not touch her boyfriend, but airport security footage shows her shoving him multiple times before police arrived right here in this corner. Officers were called to TSA security after she pushed him in a packed terminal right outside security checkpoint 4. She was then booked into jail and then released the next day. This week, she addressed what happened on her social media.
More than anything, definitely a lot of self-reflection, a lot of understanding of not only putting myself in a compromised situation, but somebody that I have a deep care and appreciation for as well is something that holding myself accountable.
Okay, I apologize to Christian. He came into my life and gave me more than a relationship, but a greater understanding of unconditional love. From what I've experienced in my past, due to my past trauma and pain, I was blind and blocked off to not only receive it, but give it. I love him, and to him, I can't apologize enough. My apologies, maybe, should be just as loud as my actions, honestly. What do you think?
well, she didn't really say what she was apologizing for. So I think she needs to be like a true apology. First of all, needs to acknowledge what her behavior did to him. Because I'm certain we even talked about Christian Coleman and his whole thing. Like he's having an experience now. Because I'm gonna tell you, if that was my baby, I'd be as a mama, I'd be like, what the what's going on here? Because be like, let me at her. I'd be trying to go after her. Anyway, as a mama. So we don't know what he is experiencing, what he's going through too. We also don't know if this is this the first time this has happened? Or has it happened before? That's another thing. So, and we understand.
To jump in and to just give you some data, it kind of has happened before in the sense that Sha'Carri was kicked off an airplane for fighting with the flight attendant. I don't know if you remember that. No, she wasn't fighting with him. She was just fighting with the flight attendant. She always finds somebody to fight with. So in this case, it was the flight attendant.
Yeah.
And it was really disturbing also because she was kind of pulling the whole like, do you know who I am? I'm famous, I'm this, I'm that. kind of card, and it just made her look that much more ridiculous. I don't know. Does anybody else remember that? I think it was 2021. She got kicked off the plane. I mean, how many? Let me just start here. Give me a yes if you or no one that you ever have known has been kicked off an airplane. Give me a yes. All the like I've never been kicked off a plane people say yes. If you and then let's make it more expansive. If you not only have yourself never been kicked off a plane, you can put yes in the chat. And if you also do not know anybody who's ever been kicked off a plane, I want to see all the yeses that come through so that we know how rare that is. That is rare. You gotta really be an asshole to get kicked off an airplane. I'm sorry. I don't know, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me, somebody educate me. But how crazy, how loud and obnoxious and nasty do you gotta be for them to be like the whole plane's not taking off because of you, and the police are gonna come and grab you. I literally not only have I've never gone through that. I don't know anybody who's gone through that. If my wife had gone through that, I don't know. I don't even know if she would have been my wife. If I'd seen that while we were in the dating stage, I'd have been like, oh no, she would have done the same thing with me. And also, I only know of one incident where I was on a plane where a guy got kicked off. It was because this guy was screaming at a lady that had a baby, and the baby was crying, and the baby wouldn't stop crying. It was driving all of us crazy, but he literally starts barking at this lady, standing over her like he was gonna attack her. And the men on the plane, and myself included, stood up and said, "Whoa, dude, you're not doing that, right?" And as soon as they landed, the police came and took his punk ass off the plane. That's the only time I've ever seen that happen. So that's rare. So she's
Yeah.
been kicked off an airplane before. So that's data for you. Please continue. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, it's those people who respond that way. So either she doesn't remember, which is possible. It could be that when people are in a reactive sort of state and you're triggered, your mind, it's okay. Think about it this way, boys. Have you ever been around people with post-traumatic stress disorder? Suppose they fought in Vietnam and you're walking down the street and a car engine backfires, and next thing you know, they're disappear and they're feeling like they need to duck and protect themselves. It's a car that's backfired. That is a place where they just feel triggered and they just go backwards into the history. They're back in Vietnam. This is what I mean when it's like time travel. Your body time travels back to a place where you feel unsafe, and that person needed to duck and cover. Same thing with people who have traumatic experiences. And so sometimes you do black out and you can't remember. Or it could be that she's just minimizing what she's done. Or, she's like, it's not that bad. Which happens a lot. You tend to minimize things. So it could be one or the other that happens. But clearly, when she was making those statements, I'm not certain if she knew she was being recorded. I'm not certain if she was trying to get out of being arrested because the police were there trying to arrest her. And maybe she's saying whatever she needs to say not to be arrested. Could be any one of those things that's happening with her. But she needs to watch the video and she needs to see what she's done. And she has got to issue another apology. Doesn't have to be publicly, but she needs to issue an apology to this man because he did not deserve that. Nobody deserves anybody to put their hands on someone. So she needs to say, I apologize for pushing you in the airport.
Well, just so everybody knows, at the
Yeah.
All Black National Convention, we're going to have experts on healing at the convention. The tickets are sold out for this year, so as much as I want to invite you, I can't. But we will let you guys know when tickets for next year are available. And for those that are coming, Dr. Alicia is going to lead a session on healing. So we're not just here to talk about the issue. We're here to support you. If you make the decision, we can't make it for you, but if you make the decision that you're tired of the drama, Alicia has a whole series of books on her website called Drama Free Relationships: How to Eliminate the Drama, How to Stop Arguing with Your Boyfriend, How to Stop Arguing with Your Girlfriend, How to Quit Arguing with your cousin, your wife, whoever it is, right? There's a protocol, a code of conduct. Dr. Anderson calls it a code of conduct that you have when you deal with disputes, because these are people that you love. And so if you eliminate the trauma, you can minimize the drama. So I encourage you to go take a look at coachingwithdralicia.com, or also if you get a free copy of my ebook at boyceandalicia.com, we can send you some stuff that way. So Alicia, I want to show you the video. You mentioned that Sha'Carri may not have known that she was being recorded. I don't think she was, and I'm gonna tell you why, and I'm gonna show you why. When they asked her specifically, they said, "Did you hit him?" She said, "No." Did you do anything? Because they had the video and they were like trying to give her a chance to not look so crazy. They were like, "Are you sure?" She's like, "No, I'm being honest. I'm not." And when somebody's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna give you the honest to God truth," and they flat out lying, woo, that's heavy, right? So check it out. Here is the video of her talking to the cops afterward, where she's,
She could have
probably.
been getting out of going. She knew she was getting arrested, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know, but this is kind of wild. So check it out. Here it goes.
Your thing, have no problem,
So
and
here's the
walking
deal,
up to you
right?
guys.
It's not
I'm
legal
not
to
arguing.
argue,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Was there any type of physical assault?
No, I didn't touch him. He didn't touch me. I will be honest.
Hit him with anything?
No, I haven't hit him with
Headphones,
anything.
nothing like that?
Not at all. He had headphones.
First off, everybody, can you hear this? Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear that, okay? And also, did y'all catch that? Where she said, I'm gonna be honest. No, no. Like she's literally repeatedly stating that she did not, that nobody hit nobody. So I don't know. This is interesting. So let's keep listening.
That were mine, and I just grabbed them headphones, but not physically. If you would like to ask me, you can ask him, but
Well,
I don't
my
want
partner's in
anything.
here, and I just want to get your side.
Okay,
So that's
absolutely.
why I'm
You can
asking
ask him whatever you need to ask him. But yeah, you're a coward.
Is it Sha'Carri?
Sha'Carri.
Sha'Carri.
Thank you so much, Sha'Carri
Hey,
Richardson.
Sha'Carri. What's
But
your
yes.
phone number for you?
And like I said, I didn't have a problem cooperating because, like I said, it was some
appreciate
relationship stuff. So that's why I came up
Do you
and
give
everything.
your boarding pass by chance? Just so I can just take a photo of that. Just to
Absolutely,
document.
yes. And you can contact me whenever you need to. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
Not my boarding pass. That is Publix. Right here.
Perfect.
This is my boarding pass.
So this is the one that got delayed?
So this is I want a relationship thing. Have no problem.
So
and
here's the
walking
deal,
up to you
right?
guys.
It's not
I'm
legal
not
to
arguing.
argue,
Right.
right? Was there any type of physical assault?
No, I didn't touch him. He didn't touch me. I will be
Hit him
honest.
with anything?
No, I had.
I didn't touch him. He didn't touch me. I'm gonna be honest. So that right there tells me that you're dishonest. And I know somebody's gonna make an excuse. I think I saw somebody said that was it Sherlyn saying, "Have you ever seen somebody black out?" Well, she obviously didn't black out enough to not know why she was mad, because she turns in the middle of the sentence. She's talking to the officer, and then she turns to him and says, "You're a coward." And she's talking really fast. She's talking over the officers, not letting them finish their sentences. It seems like something's going on psychologically, and I'd love to get your assessment of that. What was going on there?
Yeah, she could have been a little triggered there. Here's another dynamic we need to consider. Guess what? Another system that's racist as well. It's the criminal justice system. It's quite common for victims of domestic violence not to call the police and not to want to press charges because they know that the criminal justice system is also racist. So in our community, a lot of times women, when they're faced with the criminal justice system, or men or victims or perpetrators, people involved in domestic violence, they aren't honest with police officers because they don't trust the criminal justice system. I mean, that's another aspect of when you want to talk about systems they know the criminal justice system admits that they are discriminatory and racist. They have admitted this. So it's not like something I'm just charging at this system, just like the educational system, just like systems of media and Hollywood, all of these systems work together. That is another possibility we haven't talked about, that it could be what happens a lot. Because I used to work in domestic violence, and I used to work with a lot of male victims and female victims who would say, when the police comes around, we want to handle it with our pastor. We want to handle it internally because we don't trust that this system would be fair. And so, I mean, that's another dynamic there. But yeah, she was not being honest. Definitely not being honest. But it could be another factor we didn't talk about. Wait, you're muted. How did you get muted?
It kind of speaks to her character a little bit.
Yeah.
that the first thing she does is she tells a lie. Um, she's not she's cooperating, but not cooperating. Like
Right.
she's like, I'm not resisting, but she's kind of resisting in a way. It's like it makes it gives the appearance that you're talking about somebody who's just difficult, right? I'm here. I am in a really vulnerable situation. I'm about to go to jail, and even in that situation, I'm still not even letting people finish their sentences. I'm still, turning around to make sure that I have time to call him a coward. And I'm going to play another clip of that incident. This is a little bit longer, so we can kind of really get a sense of what's going on. And I want people to look at it, not just, this is not, let's gossip about Sha'Carri Richardson's relationship. This is something where I want all of us in here. Let me know if you get what I'm saying and why we're doing this. I want you to grab the relatable components of this. And if you see some of it in yourself, or if you see it in people that you're dealing with, whether it's in business or relationships or any of the above, you kind of can identify this behavior and know what a better alternative is and understand how you react to things is a very big part of whether or not things are going to work out, whether or not you stay in that relationship, whether that friendship maintains itself, whether or not that business deal gets done, right? The ability to kind of know how to not be triggered, right? So we're showing you a triggered person to show you what that looks like so you can learn from this so that when you go make an investment, you're not triggered into selling your stock too early. Or when you go start a business, you're not triggered into giving up because it got hard. Or you get a partnership that's making money, you're not triggered into ruining a friendship. Give me a yes if you understand why I'm talking about this. I want to make it clear because we're not here to have the same conversation you would have on TMZ. I think as scholars, our goal is to elevate the discussion and really help you understand why Black mentalities that come out of these harsh realities we deal with, how that kills your wealth. That kills your opportunity. That kills your possibility. I have seen people lose millions of dollars because they didn't know how to keep their cool in a difficult situation. And you're talking to one of them. I've done this myself. My wife will testify to that. But let me just tell you, my wife ain't as perfect as she might want to think she is either. But we're gonna talk about that
Well, so
later.
no,
All right. So anyway,
I've
let
not
me.
one time. Wait, no, you can't say something like that and not have me say, name a time where I've ever said I was perfect. I've
Oh, you
never
got me with
ever,
that one.
I've never
Oh my
ever
gosh,
referred to myself that way. No,
you
I
totally
want, I
got it.
want to say something because
What would you like to say? Go ahead,
this,
baby. I'm listening.
you know, if anything, I'm constantly talking about how I am not at all perfect. And there is nobody who is. And Boyce, you're not perfect. Nobody in this chat, no one watching this video is perfect. Okay. And we don't know. Look, we're capturing Sha'Carri in a situation that is probably at her lowest. And that's the burden that she carries being a celebrity. That's what happens. But a lot of us, and I'm a therapist, so I see people at their worst. It's confidential. I ain't telling nobody anything. It's private. But imagine any one of us right now put into a situation where you're at your worst and having that captured and displayed all over. So I just want to make it known that not once have I ever in my entire life ever said I was perfect. But I do know that bring it to someone's attention, talk about what someone has done and how it made you feel. Everybody deserves to be heard and to be listened to. So those are the things I strive for. You can't strive for perfection because that's unrealistic. The realistic piece is to know that you are not perfect, know that you will make a mistake, but you have to be accountable to that. So if I come across like I'm perfect, I encourage everybody to look at it in a different way. Look at it where you're just open and transparent and comfortable with who and what you are. That's different, right? So that's different from being perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing that. So
Yeah,
the
I have to
conclusion is
share that
Alicia's
because
not perfect. All right.
that's a wonderful
Thank
example.
thank you for correcting me. All
You're
right. So
welcome.
here's a Sha'Carri video. All right. So you guys ready? So I'm gonna play this. I think this gives a better view of her reaction when the police were talking to her. Here it goes.
So you're grabbing me right now.
Yep, you're under arrest.
I'm under arrest right
Yes,
now?
ma'am.
What am
Yes,
I under
ma'am.
arrest for? What am I under arrest for? Christian, are you serious right now?
You're under
Okay.
arrest for assault 14.
I didn't assault him though.
We have video cameras.
I literally was we were having an argument. I'm not resisting, so you don't have to do it harder. Christian, are you serious right now? Christian.
Washington State, he doesn't get a say.
But I understand, we were arguing. But I understand entirely. We were arguing. Okay, I'm not gonna resist. But I'm telling you that we were arguing. I didn't assault him. I didn't do anything wrong. But the fact that you guys are doing this to me and he's the man in this situation, I'm gonna comply. I am. I'm not gonna argue with you at all. But you have me on camera, but at the same time, what he has on camera, I have my phone, shows something different. So if I need to show that, I will. Okay, but I have my phone that shows something different. But Christian, thank you, Christian.
Don't talk to him right now.
Okay, I won't. Thank you so much, officer. They are arresting me right now, Christian. Sissy, they're arresting me right now. Am I gonna go actually to jail right now?
You're actually gonna go to jail.
Wait, but right now,
Yes, it's a physical
I didn't. Can he tell you that I didn't do nothing to him?
We have it on camera.
Christian, are you serious right now?
Alright.
Christian, I'm about to go to jail because of you right now. You know what? Okay. Okay. I will never fucking shoot again. Ever.
You gotta go this way.
Okay. Can we please hold these, protect the shoulders or something? This is completely unacceptable. We are in a relationship. We had an argument. Are you serious right now? So I'm under arrest for assault right now. Okay, let's just go. I'm not resisting or anything.
We know you're not.
I'm not resisting. So
You're not.
that's on record, correct?
Yes, it's
I'm
on
not
audio,
resisting.
video, everything's being audio,
Okay.
video, camera, yep.
But absolutely. Can I at least get the handcuffs off? Like I'm not violent or anything.
It's policy when you guys
It's
go to jail.
policy. So are y'all gonna arrest him? I plan on pressing charges on him then.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I plan on pressing charges on him. But this right here, I feel like it's completely unacceptable. We had an argument as in a relationship. And y'all didn't see me put hands on me, but y'all saw me put hands on him. So okay.
Excuse me.
So am I going to jail?
You are going to jail.
Who's going to bail me out?
You can make a phone call when you get
Are
there.
you
That's
serious
but
right
you're
now?
gonna have to go see a judge first before that.
Can I please make a call to my family right now?
Nope.
Are you serious? Can I make a he for a process for me?
When you
Are you serious? Christian? Oh my gosh, right now. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, okay. Who would I be able to call right now? Any numbers that I know?
You can bring your phone with you to jail.
Okay, thank you so
And when
much.
that happens, then you
So
can ask them.
when y'all let me go, can I call and press charges on him? If possible?
If that's
But because y'all have me on camera,
Correct.
y'all arrested me, correct?
correct.
And y'all didn't even listen to my side of the story. Y'all just arrested me, correct? So I didn't want to hear that part of the story. So are you grabbing me right now?
Yep, he's under arrest.
Okay. All right. Dr. Alicia.
Yeah, so I don't know what state this was in, but there are some state laws that says if somebody calls the police, it doesn't have to be the victim. It could be anybody witnessing her behaving this way and say, I've just watched this lady push this guy out of anger, and the police gets called. We don't know who, police don't care. They're like, if we got called, it doesn't matter what Christian Coleman thinks. They're like, if you hit somebody out of anger, it's illegal and you go to prison. Beautiful. That's how it should happen. That's the law. And it's very disappointing, her reaction to sit there and say, try to get even with him and to retaliate by saying, I'm gonna press charges against you now. You know, that is just super petty. And that's not the best way to respond. But as these videos come out and we get to see what happens, it gets to be released, we can definitely see where she goes from this. But how extremely terrible for her to just kind of lie like that. And then she's saying she's going to jail. Christian, I'm going to jail because of you. No, you're not. You're going to jail because she could not control herself. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a sense that she really wasn't clear about who's sending her to jail. You know, I think that she didn't understand, like, if you kept your hands to yourself, you wouldn't be going to jail either. And I had some notes, actually. First, I want to shout out Miss Faye in the chat, who mentioned something that I thought was quite profound. Miss Faye said, she doesn't see it as abuse. And I, you know, I want to get your assessment on some of this. I'm gonna lay some things out. It didn't seem like she really, I didn't hear anything where she was even behaving as if she understood, you know, and I think that this is where we kind of, as a society, get ourselves in trouble. On one hand, we have certain preconceived double standards that exist. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. If my wife, you will never hear me go online and say my wife was beating me up in the airport, because my wife, when she, if she were to ever try to hit me, which she never would, it wouldn't even hurt. My wife is, she's strong, she's in shape, but I'm a man and she's not. So truth
Okay.
is, I would not, number one, not only would I not retaliate, but I wouldn't go report it. I would just get away from you and say, "Why are you hitting me?" But fortunately, I married a woman who doesn't do that. Second of all, I heard her, you, as you mentioned, talk about pressing charges against him. And it was interesting. It's like, okay, so you're saying not only were you lying earlier about
Or
not
retaliate.
hitting him, but also you're willing to file false charges against the black man and get him sent to jail for something he did not do. How convenient. How fascinating is that? That you're willing to file false charges against this man, because you could tell from Christian's disposition. I'm not saying it's not possible that he could have hit her, but you didn't hear anybody in the airport say, "Yeah, I saw him. He pummeled her in the face."
Oh.
But then he got real passive, you know, a few minutes later. But before, he was just whopping on
You
her.
better
No, the girl,
believe if Christian had pushed her or retaliated in any way, he would be in jail quickly. You better believe.
yeah, you know, shout out to Christian. Let me just
Yeah,
tell
he
you,
had
I'm
great
a big fan
restraint.
of track and field, so I follow Christian Coleman's career very closely. I mean, I've watched this man for probably about a decade now, and I'm gonna keep it real with you. Track athletes, they have to take these performance enhancing substances to run that fast. I know they don't want me to let the cat out the bag, but I think everybody knows, right? I don't think it's humanly possible for a natural human being to run 9.79 in a 100-meter dash. So they're full of testosterone. That's my point. And the studies show that testosterone, if you have any predisposition for violence, testosterone is gonna bring out the gorilla in you. It does. And so the fact that he's had to take, you know, to deal with this testosterone, not to say that he does, but I do know Christian was suspended for not for conveniently not being available when they took the drug test. So, but still though, the fact that he's still that disciplined to let some girl like whop him in the head, when literally he could have ended that whole fight with one punch. I shout out to him. Shout out to, and I think that we got to give credit to those black men out here, and the ladies too. Ladies, sir, you get your credit later. But right now, I'm gonna give shout out to all the black men out here who understand the rule of manhood that Dr. Boyce's rule, if you want to call it that, which is you don't hit a woman. You don't. Yeah, I don't think it, even if she's hitting you, if you say, well, she hit me first, so I punched her in the face, I'm still gonna call you a coward. So Christian is not a coward. Sha'Carri called him a coward, but I don't think he was a coward. I think he was being very brave in that moment and disciplined in that moment, and I applaud his behavior. Now for her, a couple more things I noticed. Number one, talking really fast, very stressed out, wasn't listening, talking over the officer every chance she could. She said something also that was really interesting. A lot of people may have missed it. Did you notice when she said, "But he's the man in the relationship"?
Yep, I
Did you
noticed.
catch
I
that?
made a comment about that. I wrote it down.
Okay,
Mhm.
so give me your thoughts on that. I thought that was really interesting she said that.
She would definitely benefit from partner abuse intervention program. She would definitely and benefit from that. I hope that's what happens to her. She gets court mandated to take those classes, because they definitely break down this sort of gender roles about only men can be abusive. They break that down. They crack that right open, that women can be very, very abusive. And I'm sorry, like, physical abuse from women may not hurt men, but emotional abuse, psychological abuse, financial abuse in particular from women toward men is equally just devastating. It's not life-threatening, it's not a public health crisis, but in a way, it is definitely just as harmful as physical abuse, by the way.
It can be very painful, and what
Yes.
is not discussed in a
Mhm.
lot of circles is the
Yes.
amount of abuse little boys go through from their mothers
Yes.
when they're
Yes.
you know, and that, I think that's a whole conversation that the black community will probably have in the year 2045. But
Yeah.
there are so many women that think because they're women that they can't abuse a man. And women have a superpower, an emotional superpower, in my view, where she could beat the hell out of you without touching you. And so
Yes.
some of these boys grow up angry at their mother, angry at women because they're mad at their mother, because they were tired of being constantly attacked and humiliated and emasculated and punked and
Mhm.
beat down by their mothers verbally and emotionally. And and one thing that's interesting too is, speaking of just verbal and emotional abuse and really showing yourself in terms of who you are. A couple things I mentioned: Sha'Carri talking back to the officer constantly, talking over the officer constantly, and also one other little point that some of you may or may not have noticed is that there was a point where they specifically told her, "Do not talk to him."
Yeah. You
They
can't
said,
speak
"Don't
to
talk to
him.
him."
Yeah.
And what did she do? She kept talking to
Did it
him.
anyway.
So imagine that that's a man. A man just got caught in the airport beating up a woman.
Mm.
And he's like, "Come on, babe. Like, what are you doing? You're a coward, babe. You're getting me sent to jail over this shit with it." Right. And then they say, "Don't talk to her," because she's over there. She's the victim. Right. And he keeps on talking to her.
Yeah.
Right. That's a very aggressive kind of behavior, highly inappropriate. What do you say?
No, I agree with that. And I also, not only should Christian Coleman be, definitely applauded for not reacting to her, but I think the police did a pretty good job. Like,
Yeah,
they should
they
have
did.
arrested her. Like, they did their job.
Yeah,
There's
they did.
no reason why the two of them should be left alone. And I hope that they spoke to Christian about the possibility of a restraining order against her. I mean, he could ask for a restraining order, giving him his rights, all of that. I think the police did a good job. I mean, that's what they're there to do. It's
Yeah, yeah, and
unfortunate.
yeah, and it's because there was no way based on her behavior that they could have got on that plane together. It would have been a shit
No.
show. The plane would have got grounded and all sorts of, because there's something in her, and I believe honestly, because when you get a lot of fame and you're young, you really can think you're invincible. You really think anything goes for you. Because remember, she's Sha'Carri Richardson. She's Nicki Minaj follows her on Twitter, right? So if you are a person that has that kind of arrogance and you're enabled by society to believe that anything that you do and say is okay, I could see her complete. Like if they literally said, "Look, we'll let you two get on the plane, just no more funny stuff, no more ridiculousness," it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have
Mm-mm.
worked.
No, she needed to experience this consequence
Yes,
for her
yes.
behavior. She really needed to experience this, all of this.
Mhm.
She needs to experience it, and maybe she will self-reflect. I mean, it's going to require her to self-reflect. What state were they in? I don't know what airport they were in. If he entered, she's going to have to
What
come back.
Well,
Um,
I'm sure we could Google it, but I'll say this: she's gonna probably just really have to get humbled. And if it hasn't happened, I don't believe it's happened yet. I think that she's gonna be maybe 40 years old and look back and, like a lot of us, really, and realize some mistakes she made when she was young. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm through it all though. I'm still rooting for Sha'Carri.
mhm, mhm.
I was rooting for her, like because she reminds me of some of the kids I've mentored who were self-sabotaging and things
Oh,
like that. And I rooted for her also, like when she went to the World Championships last year, and she just did a great job. I don't know. I'm a track fan. I was a track coach, and one thing about Sha'Carri, people don't know this, but I was really worried. I didn't think we could beat the Jamaican women. It was because of Sha'Carri, who was actually fast enough to keep up with Sharika Jackson. Because the year before, Sharika Jackson chased down TT Terry like nobody's business. I mean, like all TT, one more stride, she would have beat TT Terry. So, but Sha'Carri ran stride for stride with her. So this girl is so talented. And I think that one thing that frustrates me about her is that, yeah, I hate seeing a super talented black person lose out on so much because they won't simply submit to something, submit to your goal. Like everybody's just so scared to submit, and everybody wants to run around like ain't nobody gonna tell me nothing. No, if you want to be successful, submit. Like first, submit to your therapist. Just say, okay, what do I got to do to be emotionally healthy? Submit if you're dating Christian, you want it to work. Submit to the relationship. What do I got to do to get along with this man and make his life better? Submit to your goals as an athlete. Submit to your peace. Right. And that is, to me, submission is the key to growth. You know, what I
Okay.
submitted
I'm not,
to,
okay, yeah, the way
wait,
you,
my version of submission, not submitting to a person. I'm talking about submitting to an idea or a standard. That's what I mean. You know,
I don't
every
know.
day when I get up and I achieve my goals, I'm submitting to a standard. When I roll out of bed when I don't want to, I'm submitting to the goal of doing what I need to be healthy. When I eat the salad instead of the fried chicken, I'm submitting to that goal. When I sit down and I work, even when I'm tired, I'm submitting to the standard of who I want to be as a human being. When I choose not to fight with my wife, when a fight would be very easy to do, I'm submitting to the fact that I want to stay married. I want to keep a stable family. So I think that young people that are not trained to submit to something are never
Huh.
going to be successful.
Yeah,
Feel free to share what you think about that.
yeah, you're using the word submitting, and I don't, that's an interesting definition of that. I think that we're just adhering to things. You know, we're just adhering seems to be, to me, based on what I'm hearing you say, you're just adhering to certain things that's part of who and what you are inside. I've never heard that word submission used in that way, but that's fine. People can use whatever word they want to use. But it sounds like to me that what you're saying is that we all need to be adhering to things. I think like joining with things. I think that when you talk about submitting to your marriage, maybe you're saying, I want to commit, demonstrate my commitment to marriage by being trustworthy, by listening to my partner. This is all of us. This is not just me and you, Boyce. This is everybody. Like, if you are committed to your relationship, you try to listen to your partner when they talk. You try to understand where they're coming from. You try to ask questions so that you can better get a grasp of what's happening here. So it sounds like understanding is what you're saying. It sounds like adhering to your own goals and just living up to what you are. I think there's a lot of other words that we can use. Submission is a really interesting word, but if it works for you, it works for you. I
Right.
just feel
It
like
works for me, right?
there's a
Because
bunch
I
of
like it. I think
things
adhering and
there.
committing, there's enough overlap with those words to, you know, for it to
Okay.
work.
Okay.
Submitting means that I've set rules for myself and boundaries and standards that are going to be consistent with the person that I want to be. So
Okay.
no matter what I want to do, submitting in my view means that, you know, when it comes down to me doing what I want to do versus doing what the standard tells me to do, I'm gonna commit to the standard. So
Okay.
submission and commission or committing,
Mhm.
they overlap, right? It's
Okay.
like,
Well,
and I believe everybody, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I believe
fine.
anybody in here who wants to accomplish a goal, I think you have to submit to something or commit to something or adhere to something, whatever you want to label it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta have some type of discipline. It comes back to discipline. That's it. You know, and I think that when I see people who just, you know, like, I'm just gonna say whatever I want, do whatever I want, I'm gonna be me no matter what. Don't nobody want to work with people like that. Nobody wants
Well,
to
no,
marry
I
someone
do.
like that.
I would say that I think that all of us need to be living our life, doing all the things that we want to do and being who we want to do. The thing is that what happens when you're stepping outside of who and what you are? What then are you reacting to? So being yourself doesn't mean being abusive. That's not you. That's not the force in you. I think all of us have a force in us that wants to do well. And I think that being who and what you are, do you want to be in a place where you are reactive to everybody? Is that how you want to live your life? Where is that going to get you? Walking around highly reactive, talking about I'm just going to be who I am, that gets you put in jail. So does those consequences work for you? I mean, this is sort of like the thinking about it. Let's just take the labels and the words off of it. Let's just call it, you really should be operating out of love and compassion for other people. And there's so many people, all of us here, there's been moments, and for many of us, much more than other people have lived their lives growing up where there was no love. So how can you give something that you never got when you were younger? How can you give honesty and acceptance and peace and all of the things that are healthy? How can you give that when it was never given to you? You don't even know what a healthy conversation looks like. You don't even know what a healthy interaction, how to have conflict in a way that is sustaining of a relationship instead of tearing down a relationship because you've never seen it. No one has ever sat down with you in a beautiful way and talked to you about things that were concerning to them in a way where you can have a conversation about it instead of it being escalated into drama. I mean, so these are the things I think we need to get into in order to live our lives, adhering to who and what we are.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And so yeah, I think drama free. Everybody type the word
Okay.
drama free in the chat. Drama free. I think drama free is the goal here. And I think that poor Sha'Carri, that drama is going to be costly for her, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out for her. I wish her the best. All right, so thank you guys for hanging out with us with Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. If you want to follow Dr. Alicia, her website is coachingwithdralicia.com. If you go to coachingwithdralicia.com, you can sign up for a class with her, or you can also make an appointment with her. She's very good at helping you to identify and deal with the drama that exists in your work life, love life, or anything in between, mental health, all these things. Also, if you want a free e-copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking, you can go to boyceandalicia.com and pick that up. And also, Dr. Alicia does her, I'm going to call them drama-free Sundays or Healing Haven Sundays. If you want to join her Healing Haven and you want to heal and you're committed to this, just pull out your phone, text the word love to the number 87948. So if you text love to 87948, you'll get an invitation and she can work with you in the group setting where they do the book club every Sunday. So take care, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you, babe. I appreciate it. All right. See you later. Bye-bye.